If you've seen the video I did with Chris Cook in Nashville where we made the Philly cheesesteaks, then you either made his bread or you made my bread when you tried the recipe. Now this is not the bread recipe I came out with just a little while ago that's been a huge hit. This was kind of a cheesy bread, but I made a lot of it and I had some left over. So whether you made that recipe, you made Chris's recipe, or you made my new bread recipe, today on Southern Keto, I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy bruschetta. Stick around. So bruschetta is a great low-carb, tomato-based spread that you can put on any kind of bread that you like. I really like it on my new bread recipe, toasted up, but I had these Philly cheesesteak rolls left over that I made, so that's what I decided to use for this. It's a super delicious recipe, but it's also quick and easy. You can throw it together in just minutes if you're having a party or get together and you need a great idea for something low carb. So let's get in the kitchen. I'll show you what you need to put together bruschetta, which is going to be one of your new go-to party foods, or just a quick and easy topping for bread. The first thing you're going to need for this bruschetta recipe is something to put it on. So either use my bread that I'm showing here from that Philly cheesesteak video I did with Chris Cook in Nashville, use his bread, or you can use the brand new bread I just came out with, which by the way is amazing. I tried to make this as easy as possible, so I'm just using a whole can of these diced tomatoes. I'm using the ones with roasted garlic in it because we love garlic. Then you're going to need a handful of fresh basil. So you can either get that at the store or get it out of your garden like I did. Next, you're going to need some balsamic vinegar. And make sure when you buy balsamic vinegar, you check the label on the back. Make sure there's no added sugar because they tend to do that to make inferior balsamics taste like good balsamics. This is a good one, no added sugar. The next thing you'll need is a great olive oil. Now because we're going to be drizzling this over the top, I like a really good quality with a nice peppery taste. This is one I like out of Italy. Or there's this one that I buy at a local olive oil place. It's great also. It's Fabulosa, and I especially love this spout to pour it out of. And I'll try to leave a link to that down in the description if I can remember which one I got. And I know there's some garlic in those tomatoes, but I'm going to use more garlic. Our county was just declared vampire free thanks to my efforts in using as much garlic as humanly possible. So you get some of that too. Now let's go ahead and prep our bread, and you can do this many different ways. You do it whatever way you like in your house, but what I'm gonna do is just cut these little cheesy buns in half like this. And I'm gonna make different little pieces to put this bruschetta on. This is a party food. This is something you can serve to a lot of people if you got them come over. Something they can grab, a finger food if you will. And you can see one of those pieces over there is a little holy. That's right, it's blessed. So anyway, cut all these up lengthwise like that, and then we'll just cut them into some pieces. So I'll just cut them up into little squares just like this. It's going to be a perfect vessel for holding these bruschettas. You're absolutely going to love it. Hey, and if you do make this bread and you got holes like that, what do? Well, you just plop some more bread right down on top of it. Cut the ones off that you can, and there you go. You got yourself a double stacker. Just fill in the gaps with it. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but hey, it's worth a shot. And why did I put these in a bowl again? Since I'm going to bake them in just a couple minutes? Well, I really don't know. I'm trying to get smarter about this as I go along, and I did shoot this a little while back, so I'm not really sure. But what's going to happen is we're going to toast these. I'm just going to put the oven on 350 degrees and let it preheat. And we're going to toast these up to make a good vessel for this bruschetta. So the next thing I'm going to do here is make a balsamic glaze. Now you can buy balsamic glazes in the store. The problem is they put so much sugar in there because you need the sweetness in order to make the foods taste good that you put the stuff on. But the crazy thing is, if you use this method, you don't need to add any sugar to it. You don't need to add any sweetener to it or anything. All we're doing is reducing this down until we get a nice, super sticky and super sweet glaze that you don't need to add anything to. If you're new to the channel, you may not know about my parchment paper trick, but the trick is you just ball it up in your hands and put it down on the pan and it stays there. You ain't got to use any oil to stick it down. You don't have to wet it. You don't have to go through any gyrations, incantations, or crossing your fingers or any of that kind of stuff. If you ball it up and you unroll it and you stick it down, it's gonna stay there. So anyway, I did that. I'm gonna lay these out and we're gonna put them in to bake for just a few minutes. Every once in a while, just go over to that balsamic vinegar, give it a little bit of a stir. Make sure it's not sticking to the bottom or anything crazy like that. This is about a medium heat, and you just want it to smoke a little bit like this. It's not really smoke, it's more steam, just that liquid's evaporating off, and that's what's gonna bring us those great flavors. Now this next step is a tough one, so unless you're a classically trained French chef, you might not be able to pull this off. But what we're gonna do is take this can opener now. You gotta make sure it's at the exact right angle so you can open up this can. I told you this was an easy recipe, and y'all gonna love it, I'm telling you. Anyway, open this can up, and if you got something you can use that tomato juice for, like to marinate it or something like that, then you can save it. I don't, so I'm just gonna strain all that liquid out into the sink. I'm gonna make sure that I get all of it out that I can. I want these to be pretty nice and dry. I'll press them down like that and try to get as much of the liquid out as possible so that when we put it on the bread, it doesn't make it all soppy or anything. Just make sure you get enough of that out to where it's not gonna drown your little breads, or croutons, if you will. I think that's that correct French classic term for them. So you just wanna drain it until it completely changes colors. I'm just kidding. I think I told you I did this a while back, and I don't know what I was doing focusing my camera, but it was weird. Anyway, it ain't gonna look like that. It's gonna look like the regular tomatoes, but drained. Hit subscribe and click the bell next to it if you like recipes like this. And click that thumbs up if you're gonna make more quick and easy keto recipes that I'll show you. And so once you're getting just a tiny bit of liquid out of the tomatoes like that, then we're ready to go. So just dump them out into a bowl, and we're gonna go ahead and start putting this thing together. Now I hope you got a big old container of garlic, because you're gonna need about 86, 87 cloves of garlic in this recipe. Well, maybe not quite that much, but I do like a lot of garlic. And so I put about, I'd say that's about a tablespoon, maybe a little over that. You may not like as much as I do, but again, I hate vampires. And I'm gonna take some of that good olive oil, and I'm gonna season it up with a little bit of that. I'd say it was probably a couple teaspoons of that in there, but look, you can always mix it up and taste it. I'm gonna pepper it up a little bit. And I'm gonna salt it, and just mix it up along the way. Taste it, do it exactly like you like. The key to a great recipe is simple ingredients done right. The next thing I'm gonna do is take some of that fresh basil, and I'm gonna save some to make it pretty later. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll this up like that. This is the way I like to do it, to be able to cut it and just run right through it with a knife like that. So just kind of ball it up like I did with that parchment paper, and then just run right through it. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need perfect little squares of basil or anything. We want it to look kind of rustic when we get done, but it's gonna be absolutely beautiful. And in case that doesn't look pretty enough already, we'll just go right in over the top with that basil that I just chopped up. I mean, look at the colors in that. Tell me if you see that over some good keto bread at a party, you're not gonna grab one of those and go right to it and then ask whoever did it for the recipe. I mean, I'm telling you, simple but delicious. That's the thing. And give it a good old mix and get all those flavors incorporated in there. I mean, people just ain't gonna leave you alone after you feed them this stuff. I'm telling you, it is that good, but it is that simple. Make sure you give it a taste and get your seasonings right. If something's not right, you can add it. It's hard to take it away though, so make sure you don't add too much. I believe it might need a little bit more salt, so I'm gonna go in hard with a little of that pink Himalayan. The oven's preheated, and you can see my 2-ingredient pasta right up there. I'll put the link to that video right up above, but that goes absolutely great with this. I'm just gonna give these little chunks of goodness a nice spray with some good olive oil, and then go back and check on that balsamic one more time. And you're gonna know when it's about ready, because it starts getting thick like that. And when you see the little traces running down the pan, it's thick enough you can turn off the heat because it's going to thicken up a little more. We'll just take these beautiful little pieces of bread, and if you use my new bread, it's going to be even better. We'll just throw this in the oven for a few minutes just to crisp it up. I'm going to give it about 5 minutes and check on it after. And oh man, this is what I like right here. Just a little bit crunchy on the top. It's got to hold up to that tomato we're going to put on there. So when it starts changing color back and forth like that, you know it's ready. I don't know what was wrong with my camera work back then, but hey, hopefully it's getting a little better. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of this tomato goodness, sprinkle it right on top of here. And once we throw these couple more components on there, you got an absolutely delicious appetizer for you, your family, your friends, or complete strangers. Hey, you could take this thing down to the bus stop and start handing it out, and I guarantee you get a lot of new friends. Anyway, I'll just put these tomatoes on here, and then we'll put together the rest. Now these things look good already, but we are not done. No siree, we are not. We're gonna go ahead and take some of that basil that we cut up and just go ahead and decorate the top just a little bit with that. And simply because I want to get crazy with it and I love great olive oil, I'm going to go ahead and pour just a little bit of that olive oil, just a little drizzle right over the top, just like that. I'm telling you right now, you're going to love this stuff. Oh man. And then just drizzle the top with a little bit of that balsamic that we reduced down like that. A little glaze, if you will. Just a few drops on there, that's all it takes. It is absolutely delicious, super sweet. Brings a great flavor to this dish. And there you have one of my favorite party appetizers, the bruschetta. If you want another dip to go with this bruschetta for a party, watch this video right here. This will be a hit every single time.